Hello, we are Team MAKE, Melissa Herrera, Alicia Sanchez, and Catherine Starr. For our UNM Oils 504 simulation and critique, we will present Genome Island, an educational genetic simulation in Second Life. Second Life is a three-dimensional virtual world created for creativity, entertainment, social interactions, business, and educational experiences in which educators may use as an additional tool to incorporate into their curricula. Genome Island is a micro-world within Second Life whose target population is undergraduate learners studying biology. Genome's objective is to create an engaging virtual world that bridges the gap between the lecture and laboratory experience, thus providing the learners the opportunity to easily engage in interactivities and explore simulated genetic interactions. Next, we'll review the 5P elements: presentation, practice, production, and posting, collaboration, and participation. Genome's presentation is very intriguing with its precision, attention to detail, accuracy and mobility, sound, interactivities, different color schemes, and instructional material to further assist the learner and become drawn into the material. In addition, the learner navigates throughout the island using an avatar that can be customized to include appearance and apparel. The avatar has the ability to walk, run, jump, and fly, which enhances the learner's experience by making it more fun and appealing. Beginning with the basics, the learner can use the arrow keys or WASD to practice hand-eye coordination to navigate about the island. Next, the interactivities in the different environments allow the learner to generate a feeling of accomplishment, as well as further build knowledge and skill of how genetics and chromosomes interact with one another. Learners can practice biological processes such as the principle of independent assortment and Mendel's research on genetics using the garden piece. They can also enter and explore a giant cell model, as well as practice matching DNA and RNA base pairs. In addition, if the users didn't fully comprehend what was being taught in the environment, they have the opportunity to repeat without consequence. The environments are scaffolded, thus through the various interactivities, the user is able to apply knowledge and skill to produce a different possible outcome by manipulating the genetics. In addition, we can interact with classmates and see their immediate feedback through the interactivity. The simulations are geared toward independent learning. Changes that occur within a simulated activity are often only viewed by the acting learner. However, there is one portable activity, which is the dihybrid tulip simulation that learners can take a copy of and open at will to explore. Learners can be self-directed, but is intended to be instructor-led. Genome Island also allows for synchronous live lecture and presentation, promoting a community of practice. Users can communicate utilizing the messaging tool. The environment allows for learners to view each other's progress through collaboration, simulations, and lastly, the environment allows 50 or more learners at a time. Next, we will discuss criteria to evaluate and what type of simulation Genome Island is. Genome Island is a physical simulation as it teaches learners different genetic processes as they navigate through the different environments. For example, one of the activities is a dihybrid model where each mouse click propagates the flower for a new generation, and the results vary according to which traits are interbred. Some of the simulations in the island are iterative simulations as the learner runs the simulation over and over, selecting values for various parameters at the beginning of each run, observing the phenomenon occur without intervention. For example, as the learner completes the simulation in the tower, they move on to the next simulation that is building upon knowledge gained from the previous. In addition, we note that Genome Island does not have any procedural or situational simulations. Genome is a simulated microworld within Second Life virtual world. Genome Island is a user-created simulation designed to support learners' study of genetics by providing interactive simulated models of genetic processes.
For learners, the experience of navigating within the virtual learning environment of Second Life adds a dimension of play and challenge to the simulations themselves. Learners need to master basic navigational skills so that their avatars can move within the environment and interact with the simulations. For learners familiar with common computer game interfaces, the learning curve is shallow, but for novices, avatar control may require practice before the learner is ready to interact with the simulated learning activities. The fact that all the objects within the virtual learning environment are user-generated creates an added layer of interest for learners. While Genome Island is designed for learner interaction with the created content, the larger virtual world that the learning environment is situated within provides vast creative building possibilities. It is a simulation within a simulation. The micro-world of Genome Island is primarily a constructed rather than construction environment, but learners do manipulate objects to illustrate cause-effect relationships in simulated genetic models. Throughout Genome Island are objects that display signals of interactivity using lights, motion, and pop-up text instructions to direct learners. Many of the objects have scripts embedded into them, which make something happen when they are clicked. Sometimes the player is given a note card, which is an informational document. Sometimes it is a link to a website. Sometimes it triggers an action like the propagation of a generation in a genetic reproductive simulation. Sometimes it opens a sound file or slideshow presentation. And sometimes it prompts the download of a companion spreadsheet genetic simulation activity. When the player is close enough to an object, instructions for how to interact with the object will appear. For example, this screenshot shows links to 2 books at the center post. Also, there are 2 teleport columns and a board with multiple interactives for exploring genetic music. Genome Island offers numerous plant and animal genetic simulation learning activities. The theme of objects emitting sparkles during the procreation cycle informs learners that the simulated event took place, and the results can be noted by observation or in the chat window. While there is not a lot of diversity of storylines or options to explore in Genome Island, there is a narrative. The micro-world is designed to not only provide learners with simulated propagation experiments, but to tell the story of genetics history, and in this way, the plants, animals, and models of microscopic life are the characters in the story of life. While it may benefit learners to progress through the activities in Genome Island in the prescribed order, each activity is a standalone activity, supporting nonlinear interactions with the models in the learning environment. Each interaction between learner and environment are confined to the range and command controls specified by the designer. Learners can go through a guided exploration as part of a class that visits the site, and there are instructions everywhere to help the learner explore the site on their own. The chat window, shown in this image, indicates the progeny from each matched pair of cats, allowing learners to observe the range of genetic diversity possible from pairs of cats with slightly varied phenotypes. Genome Island is filled with simulations and representations of the biological genetic world. The fidelity of the simulations to the genetic probability of the outcomes is quite accurate and similar to other simple generational simulation calculators. Seeing the 3D results in the colorful setting helps learners understand the genetic processes that occur in nature. Realistic time models for multi-generational genetics experiments are impractical for a simulated lab experience, so considering that restraint, the models are fairly high fidelity. The general atmosphere of Genome Island is a feeling of fidelity to reality. For example, there is a greenhouse that resembles the garden where Gregor Mendel did his famous pea research. As we've stated, the simulation is set in Second Life, a virtual world where users control avatars that navigate through different player builds or micro-worlds that are educational, recreational, or both. Genome Island is a simulated genetics lab within this virtual learning environment.
The instructional goal of Genome Island is for entry-level biology students to go through a series of experiments to further explore molecular genetics, Mendelian laws of inheritance, and other genetic processes such as X-linked inheritance. The learners are also tasked with gathering data and completing specific tasks in each area. Now we are going to discuss the interactivity design of Genome Island based on the work of Esareo, Gao, and Law. The interface interactivity at Genome Island is well designed, providing wayfinding for the users to navigate through the island, and providing instruction using cues, graphics, and other objects created by the designer. The visuals are engaging and realistic to the models found in many biology textbooks. For example, one of the most appealing models in Genome Island is a cell where the learner can go into and explore, which provides an immersive experience. While there is not a specific storyline, Genome Island instead focuses on taking learners through the history of genetics, which are represented in different areas of the island. On the other hand, one of the best qualities of Genome Island is the ability for social interactivity. Independent learners and classes can go to Genome Island and explore and work through the problems together and observe the work of others in real time. Furthermore, learners can communicate through chat or audio. This can be a great place for classes to explore and run different simulations related to what they are learning about in the classroom. Moving on, we are going to summarize our group's score of the retained rubric. Overall, Genome Island received a score of 48 points using the retained model. We do want to point out that this rubric is subjective and may not necessarily reflect the experience of other learners and how they interact with the virtual environment. In terms of relevance, Genome Island was given a level 2 score because the content is targeted and learning objectives are clearly defined, and it also creates interest in what is to be learned thanks to its visuals and overall presentation. Embedding was also given a level 2 score because it does provide the learners with opportunities to engage with the content, and there are intellectual challenges present. However, we do not feel that this will keep the learners engaged unless they are provided with instructions and are going through the simulation as part of a class. If the learner was exploring the island without a purpose like we did, it is likely they will not have the motivation to go through the simulations because they may not necessarily understand the content or may not be interested in running through the different activities in a specific order. Adaptation and immersion received a level 3 score because it is designed for learners to be actively involved in the learning process, and they can connect to what is learned in Genome Island to what they learn in the classroom. The simulation is also immersive and provides opportunities for the learner to feel like they are a part of the environment by interacting with the activities while being able to interact with others to provide a more authentic experience. Finally, we gave naturalization a level 2 score because Genome Island does have the opportunity for the users to use the information they learned from the simulations, but do not feel that they would provide opportunities to utilize knowledge habitually and consistently. Genome Island is an engaging teaching tool for instructors and learners to support genetics instruction, but may be difficult as independent exploration due to the complexity of the information provided. We felt lost at times throughout our exploration, causing us to disengage with the content, which we anticipate may be the same situations that other learners may feel if they explore Genome Island on their own. Ideally, this simulated genetics lab would be explored as a supplement to classroom learning, and it is well suited to this, as the whole class can attend synchronously.
That concludes our analysis of Genome Island. If you are interested in learning more, we do encourage you to visit the site, but please be aware that you need to have a Second Life account. Thank you for your time.